Welcome back to Blue Eagle 40. We're running overtime right here, but that's no problem. That's the cool thing when you're on the internet. You can just go on and on. But we're not going to keep our guest here that long. That's William Mallari. But before we talk to William Mallari of the Loyola Bookstore, I'm going to give my personal pre-UAAP ranking. I honestly believe that 6 of the 8 schools this year have a very good chance of competing for a Final Four slot. And in spite of saying that, even if you're ranked number 7 or 8, that doesn't mean you're gonna go winless. In fact, all 8 schools, it's gonna be a wide open race this year. It's no guarantee that NU will win it, UE will win it, or even Ateneo will win it. Teams just have to come out and really compete night after night for that all-important W. So looking at my personal pre-UAP ranking, at number 8, I have either UP or Adamson University. And then at number 6, we're looking at FEU. Number 5, we're looking at LaSalle. Number 4, Ateneo. Number 3, UST. Number 2, UE. And number 1, NU. Their fill oil loss notwithstanding, everyone and myself believe that NU is still one of the top favorites to get a finals berth. Now, UAP, we're going to talk right now to William Mallari. As part of this fever, this UAP fever, this Ateneo Blue Eagle basketball fever that is awash all over right now. Let's talk about yung mga shirts, the paraphernalia that comes with every season. The Loyola Bookstore is the haven for all of this, right?
That's correct, Rick. That's correct.
On the average, how many shirts, different kinds of shirts, do you sell in 1 year, in one season?
Well, if we're talking about the bonfire alone, it's around 10 to 15,000 shirts.
Wow.
So you can just imagine if you're going to multiply that divide by a divisor, which is conservative, in a year. So easily we can produce around 200,000 to 500,000 shirts in a year.
So, but on the average, Sir William, how many Ateneans or even non-Ateneans buy shirts? Are you able to keep track of that? How many shirts are actually sold per season?
Per season, it's safe to say that we are selling around 300,000 shirts for the season alone of basketball. But through the years, we're in the emergence of the Lady Volleyball Eagles. We have touched the aspirational markets. No? If you notice during the V-League, perhaps conservatively speaking, around 55 to 60% cheered for our Lady Blue Eagles or non-Ateneans. No?
Right.
And I'm so happy about that, especially when Gaidon interviewed me about shirts. I was so happy to tell them that we already touch a certain segment of our market, which are non-Ateneans.
That's a very interesting point, Sir William. No? When you talk about non-Ateneans, do they take the time to go dun sa Loyola Bookstore para bumili ng mga shirts? Like, nagpupunta sila talaga?
Yes. We've been receiving a lot of calls, actually, on how to get to Ateneo, if they will be allowed to get inside. No? So basically, the same procedures as other guests of the Ateneo.
But can they also order from out of town, out of the country? Is it possible?
That's a very leading question. Thank you very much, Rick, for reminding me that Ateneo University, through the LS Bookstore, will be embarking on an online ordering system. This has been on the pipeline for the last 2 years. It's during one of my meetings with Father Jet, he reminded me about that. So hopefully, going the second round of the UAAP this season, we were able to launch that.
Okay, para lang sa mga ating viewers ng Blue Eagle 40, hindi lang, alam natin Loyola Bookstore, nasabi natin, pero hindi lang books. May books din doon, hindi lang shirts, may books din. Sir William, as I understand, you also have access to the books of other universities that are also available in the bookstore.
Yes, we do. Last 4 years ago, we were able to ask the University of the Philippines Press, the De La Salle, and also UST to provide us and have the opportunity to display and sell their titles penned by their own faculty members.
So may bumibili naman?
Yes, it's very active. And after that, we didn't stop. At the bookstore, we also launched that international section wherein we feature books published by Ivy Leagues. We have books from the Harvard University, from the UCLA, John Hopkins. And then afterwards, we realized that we have to bring back the passion and the art of book reading. So that's why we launched the Reading Encouragement Program, where we featured favorite titles read by our famous alumni, such as the first featured reader was, of course, Mr. Manny Pangilinan. And then we came up with Father Nebres's favorite books. It's still on display and on sale at the bookstore.
I understand, William, that I think a certain portion of the sales, they go to scholarships. Am I right?
Yes. My marching order then was to have this bookstore as a one-stop shop for the whole community. But being an overachiever, together with the support of my former vice president and of course with the current vice president of the Loyola Schools, Dr. John Paul Vergara, we are giving scholarship for students coming from the public school.
I see.
To have the opportunity to receive a Jesuit education. We give scholarship grants, meaning to say they're not going to pay a single centavos from first year until they graduate.
Malaking bagay yan.
And as we speak now, Rick, we have 27 scholars and counting.
In the college right now?
In the college right now. The first batch graduated last March. So every year thereafter, we'll be seeing a lot of scholars of the Loyola Schools Bookstore graduating.
Congratulations. Now, having said that, yung mga scholars na to, pumapasyal ba sila sa bookstore? Do they...
The scholarship that I offered them and gave to them is an unconditional love. Parang yung pagmamahal natin sa mga anak natin. No? I'm not asking a return.
Okay.
Ang sinasabi ko lang sa kanila, mag-aral mabuti at pagsikapan na makuha yung diploma na nagpapatunay na nagkaroon sila ng Jesuit education. It was my dream then, and I would like them to have that.
But they are doing that naman. They're doing well in their studies.
Oh, the first batch, I think 2 graduated cum laude, and the other 2. And
galing.
their particular disciplines are the honors program of the university.
Wow, impressive.
I'm very happy. At the end of the day, it's equally rewarding to know that.
Congratulations. Now, speaking of expansion for the Loyola Bookstore, as I understand, Sir William, you're also involved in the JSEC. And
Yes,
there's
I am.
expansion also for JSEC.
Yes, I am.
You want to tell Ateneans out there, as well as those who graduated, about these developments?
JSEC, which is the John Gokwe School of Management Student Enterprise Center, is an experiential laboratory for young and budding entrepreneurs, our students at the Ateneo, to hone their skills, knowing the theories and principles of doing business in the confines of their four-cornered rooms. We offered an additional avenue, which is JSEC, so that they can know and apply practically all the theories and principles they've learned in that classroom. No?
Wow.
And we started offering 12 stalls. And then 2 years ago, we expanded, which is now known as the JSEC Annex, additional of 7 stalls. So since last year, we're offering 19 stalls. Earlier this year, we decided to give up the spots previously occupied by commercially run coffee shops, and then awarded this again to additional 3 student groups to run a coffee shops inside the university.
Impressive. For those Ateneans who are watching overseas, JSEC is actually a part here in the college that is, it's like a mall, for lack of another better word, where all the stalls are run by students. So as William mentioned, it is a laboratory for them to perfect and to even learn these various business techniques, such as opening coffee shops or even their own food stalls. So this takes learning to another level, William.
Yes, it is. But the other side of it is, of course, the dirty jobs that we have to do. JSEC, of course, is a concept started by Dean Rudy Ang.
Yes, Rudy Ang.
And through the years, we grew in terms of numbers of the applicants that would like to be part of JSEC every year. From a low of 80 applicants on my first year, which is, we talk about 5 years ago, to the high of almost 300 last year. So we're expecting almost 400 business proposals from different student groups. And I would like to reiterate that it's not only for JG SOM students. We open this to the 4 Loyola schools, namely the John Gokwe School of Management, SOS, and of course the School of Humanities.
Okay, let's make it very clear. This is for the students. Paano yung alumni? Paano yung high school? Paano yung meron bang, pwede ba sila sa ganyan?
That's the number 1 requirement, Rick. It's for the Loyola school students,
Okay.
not even for graduate school students.
I
It
see.
should be within the Loyola schools, meaning to say students from the 4 different schools.
Okay, so aside from earlier I talked about the various UAAP or Blue Eagle, Lady Eagle themed shirts that are on sale. In case you don't know, William is also an avid watcher. You will always see him come UAAP basketball, lalo na yung sa women's volleyball. He's a huge supporter of these teams. Let me ask you right now, meron na bang ready stocks for season 76?
We've been planning this since last year. Perhaps we're able to get a very good lesson from MVP. After winning a championship from their commercial team, you always ask when is the next practice. So every year that we won a championship, which incidentally, Rick, I'm also on my celebration of my 5-year championship.
Congratulations.
I started 5 years ago, and right now I'm running perfect. Every year since
Let's keep it perfect. Let's keep it
every
that
year
way.
since I joined the Ateneo, we've been champions. That's why my friends here in the Ateneo, Rudy and some friends are teasing me, malakas yung benta mo kasi lagi kang champion. But that's luck, you know. I don't have any hand on that.
So yung mga statement shirts, yung sa mga Get Blued and all that, one of our sponsors also, aside from Ye and all these others, meron na bang mayabang dyan na, 6, let's go for 6. Meron na bang mga ganun statement shirts?
I was an athlete myself.
Okay.
We're talking about, 15 years ago and perhaps 120 pounds ago. Marami nang gusto at nag-a-attempt na, William, prepare ka na ng 6 feet. But I will be the first one to refuse that. I respect the coaching staff.
Yes.
I respect the views of our athletes.
Yes.
May kasabihan tayong mga atleta, baka mausog daw eh. So, I'm not venturing on that. Neither that I'm venturing of shirts that practices school bashing. Ipinagbawal yan simula nung naupo ako. Kaya may mga segment na medyo na-disappoint kasi wala na daw yung pinapana or something. Pero iniwasan natin yun. We were able to bring that to another level.
I'm actually glad that you do it that way, that you have that kind of rule for the shirts that you sell. Personally, I feel disappointed and a little angry when I see other schools, other students wearing those kinds of shirts. Kasi ko sabihin, like, sino ba champion? All right. But William, any last words for our viewers out there about these innovations and what they can look out for, not only from JSEC, but also from the Loyola Bookstore?
Well, I would like to share this with the community. Not only that we are supporting the scholarship program through the Ateneo Scholarship Foundation, but relating this to this program, we are also supporting in our own little way the sports program to university. We are supporting the Lady Blue Eagles and of course the basketball team. And come June 30, our first game against NU, be sure that we also be of service to you. We are still perhaps the only school that will be having 4 store locations inside the Mall of Asia. And we are all excited to show to you the latest designs of the students and the former alumni for this coming season.
All right, so there you have it. The 3rd episode of Blue Eagle 40, we had Wami Chongson and JP Aram joining me in dissecting our competition for UAP Season 76. We also have Mr. William Mallari of the Loyola Bookstore talking about what to expect for the shirts as well as for JSEC. We hope that you enjoyed this 3rd episode and that you'll continue to watch this as we go on to the season. We'll have more guests. When we come back for the 4th episode, we don't know yet because it depends on what happens on that game. But we hope that you stay here with us in Blue Eagle 40. Thank you very much and one big fight.